Hello and a very warm welcome to all. I'm Neha Bhardwaj Alter and this is Game On. Today is the last chance for Pakistan to try to resurrect their World Cup campaign. Having lost 3 back-to-back games, Pakistan team has been brutally criticised by their fans, former cricketers and media back home. While the pressure will be on captain Babar. Can his team bounce back to beat an in-form South Africa who've turned up with their batting gears on in this tournament? Let's introduce 2 guys here on the show who you should never call if you want to win in fantasy cricket, Chetan Narula and Jamie Alter. And I can tell you one out of these 2 takes his fantasy cricket very seriously. I don't know whether he's won or lost, but on the show, their predictions, not at par as we would have liked. But thank you guys for joining us here on the show. Pakistan versus South Africa. Pakistan, though, Jamie, can take heart from the fact that they are not the worst team in the tournament. England are.
Yeah, they are. And just to add, in fantasy, you're going on players, not on team. Oftentimes, what I do in fantasy is absolutely. I'm on a hot streak now, but that's a topic. That's a topic for a different day. Look, we discussed this yesterday, right? England have so many visible problems, and like Chetan said yesterday, this team is going to end this World Cup 99% with the worst record for any defending team. It's actually come down to that contest between these 2 teams. I think it's a couple days from now or a few days from now when I'm looking at these 2 teams' abject performance and saying, it's either the 2 top teams or the 2 worst teams that give you, entertaining matches that go the distance. And I'm sort of waiting for that one match which goes down to the wire. Most likely it's going to be these 2 teams because frankly, I don't see them beating South Africa. South Africa have already announced that they're dropping a fast bowler. They're bringing in Tabraiz Shamsi. And look at what happened the last time a match was played in Chennai. We discussed how crucial it was for Afghanistan dropping a fast bowler, a successful fast bowler, and bringing in 19 or 20-year-old Noor Ahmed. And Noor Ahmed had the biggest imprint with the ball for Afghanistan in that win over Pakistan. So right now, yes, we know that hashtag stranger things and all that jazz. But I personally cannot see this South African juggernaut being stopped by this Pakistan team unless Pakistan bat first, somehow get to 350 and then choke South Africa. Because 5 matches we've seen South Africa, 1 loss, and that was when they couldn't chase 245 against the Dutch.
Though for Pakistan, Chetan, how do you think they'll be approaching today's game? The pressure is going to be on them, or you'd say, you know what, it can't get worse than this. We've been abused and trolled by the whole world. Only thing we can do is just go out there and play, good cricket or try to play good cricket.
Well, Meha, first of all, it's 1:03 a.m. and Jamie's already got a prediction out of the way. First answer he's given, he's got the prediction out of the way. Coming back to your question, yeah, I mean, for Pakistan, it's a do or die situation, and more than do and die situation, it's a situation for Babar to say, okay, you know what, a lot has been said, a lot has been going on, and I need to set the record straight, and he can only do that with his bat by scoring those runs, putting good runs on the board. Now, whether he's batting first or chasing, that's a totally different story. But at the end of the day, what do big players do? Big players come up and override the criticism against them as individual performers. And I think right now, Babar has to show that he is a big player. I'm not talking about a big game player. That's a different story. He's a big player who can override this wave of criticism and say, okay, you know what? You've got me all wrong, and I can still lead Pakistan cricket. And obviously, I'm not going to judge him that, okay, if he fails today, but it is something that we would like to see him do to score runs. We were talking during the Asia Cup that Babar coming to India for the first time, playing, that's a spectacle for fans here. Cricket fans will go to the stadiums and say, okay, you know what, I want to watch Babar bat. A lot of them will be disappointed, in the last 4-5 games that he's not put up the runs that he's capable of putting up. So I think today, in terms of what Pakistan do, the spotlight will be squarely on Babar. And overall, I do agree with Jamie that, this Pakistan team is probably not up to scratch when it comes to the way South Africa have been playing their cricket. But again, a corner tiger is probably the most dangerous one. So if anybody can win, overcome this situation and win, it's this Pakistan side.
Also, history is with Pakistan because it's been 24 years since any South Africa team beat Pakistan at the World Cup. And any remaining fans of Babar Azam's beleaguered team will be hoping that this record stays intact today in Chennai. Pakistan, their World Cup semi-final hopes on the rocks after 3 successive losses, face second-ranked South Africa in what looks a mismatch on paper. The Proteas have won 4 out of 5 matches and boast the strongest top 7 in the tournament, backed by a solid bowling attack and some terrific fielders. Totals of 400 have been par for this team, given the depth in their batting. If there is, however, a chance for Pakistan to be winning this match, as Jamie has just said earlier, then it lies in them batting first and putting up 300 plus. For as we saw in the match versus Netherlands, which is the only match South Africa lost, even this mighty South African team can combust while chasing. But do Pakistan have the batters to make 300 plus? That's the other big question. Can they do it? And the bowlers to stop South Africa from racing away. It's Chennai, which should play slow and low again. And with South Africa swapping a pacer for a spinner, all signs are that Babar Azam's team is up for another massive challenge. No denying it. Let's also talk about South Africa, guys, and how they'll be coming into this game. Now, they have done extremely well at the Wankhede in the matches they played, but this is a different beast. Different set of skills will be used here, Jamie. Your spinners need to come good. Your batters need to be able to play spin better. How do you see South Africa doing today in these conditions?
Well, like I said, they've already announced that they're dropping a fast bowler and they're adding in a second spinner, right? I don't think this is going to be the kind of Chennai track where they'll have to look for a third slow bowler. If they do that, then Temba Bavuma can call on Aiden Markram, someone who's got Virat Kohli's wicket a couple times in ODIs, and he's done decently well. I remember for Hyderabad in the IPL, bowling now and then. So they have all bases covered. And when you take the decision, like well before the match, to drop a successful fast bowler who's coming off 3-wicket haul and play a spinner, you kind of know that South Africa have acknowledged that, you know what, Pakistan have problems here, and no doubt they're taking a cue from what Afghanistan did. But it's not going to be the same pitch. This is going to be the pitch on which it was that New Zealand-Bangladesh match was played, where Lockie Ferguson, as Chetan underlined, had a massive role to play coming on first change. Even then, look at South Africa's bowling. Is it the best bowling in the tournament? I don't think so. I think India still have that. But South Africa's bowlers are doing the job. They even did the job in that 43-over match against Netherlands. The batsmen didn't stand up that day. So like I said earlier, their best chance of not beating but smashing Pakistan comes when batting first. Is this going to be a 350 wicket? Probably unlikely. But if there's one team which is going to buck the trend and go beyond the expected total here, it is this team. I think Chetan mentioned when discussing Heinrich Klaasen how he's the best player of spin in this team, right? And this is where I think we've seen him get 100. I know he got a 90 the other day. He's probably got some other good scores. We might see Heinrich Klaasen at his best because given that unpredictable nature of Pakistan, if they manage to get a couple early wickets, it's actually giving Klaasen longer to bat. And given his form, given his sense of the occasion, given his appetite to really grab teams by the scruff of the neck and just bash them around, I think we could be up for another Heinrich Klaasen 100 here. Because like Chetan said, when it comes to playing spin, David Miller's come a long way in the last couple of years playing for IPL. But if there's one bowler who's going to smash, and look at, I'm only mentioning this because Pakistan have no spinner to speak of. They're going to play 2. I doubt they'll bring in Mohammad Nawaz. Those 2 spinners, Shadab and Osama Mir, we're looking at 150, 160 runs to me just for coming from those 2 bowlers if Heinrich Klaasen tees off. So I don't think South Africa, barring that one change they've already made, need to think any other way. If they bat first, target 350, and with this team, they actually could get 350 on that slow and low wicket.
What can Pakistan team feed Shadab Khan so that he gets back to form, that he gets back to taking wickets, Chetan? Because right now, he seems to be more important and his form needs to get better than Babar Azam's. I mean, right now, if he can get wickets on this pitch, things are going to be much better for Pakistan. it's incredible to see him struggling like this. Yeah, not even one game where you say, okay, that's the Shadab Khan of the old.
First of all, he'll have to pitch the ball. He's been bowling quite a few full tosses. Same for Osama Mir. I mean, as a spinner to bowl so many full tosses, that's just disappointing, to be honest. So obviously they'll have to say, okay, you know what, this is a pitch at hand. We want to make use of the pitch. And to make use of the pitch, you first need to pitch the ball. I was reading an interesting article in terms of how after surgery, and Osama Mir has had a few hamstring issues. He's had groin niggles, he's had calf niggles, which is actually very weird for a spinner to have so many of these issues at groin, calf, hamstring. Spinners don't usually have these issues. Either he's training wrong, probably, which obviously can be a reason, because we've heard Wasim Akram say there are no fitness tests. If there are no fitness tests, there are no fitness regimes, or nehariyan khande ne, whatever he's saying, so all of that combined, these are very, very weird injuries for a spinner. And when that happens, I was reading an interesting article how he's not getting the right angle of the body. If you compare him with somebody like a Kuldeep Yadav, what has Kuldeep done? Why is he doing so much better? Obviously, his mental game is better, but in terms of his bowling also, he's a fitter version of Kuldeep Yadav than we saw earlier, and he's getting a lot of body angle into his bowling. A lot of turn is coming from the way his body is moving around when he's delivering the ball. So maybe for Shadab Khan, that is an aspect that's really not working at this moment because of the injuries that he's had. And when injuries do happen, you tend to change the way you play, tend to change the way you bowl. And I think that is having a bit of an impact on how Shadab Khan is bowling. Is that redeemable? I don't know. I really have no idea. If it's not redeemable, then he needs to probably pick another trade, because this is not going to work out for him. As for, Osama Mir, he's very young, very inexperienced. He's been thrown into the deep end, to be honest. You don't want to be making a World Cup debut on a Bangalore pitch where 350 is par score. But again, like I said, he's not been bowling too well as well. He's been bowling quite a few full tosses. So these are gimme balls for the South African batting lineup. So the best scenario for Pakistan, as Jamie has been predicting in each answer, is, bat first and put some runs on the board and then put South Africa under pressure. But even then, I'm not sure they will be able to stop South Africa.
Okay. So talking about South Africa then, skipper Temba Bavuma, he's likely to be back. Jamie, Reza Hendricks will have to sit out. The team really wasn't missing Temba Bavuma. I mean, he's back, yes, but how do you see their batting now? It's interesting because when you look at them, the batting ends at number 7. Marco Jansen, not many would have thought, he was the right number 7, but he's shown that he can do the job just fine for South Africa, which has been an added bonus for them. I would think that it would be their bowling, Jamie. That is a small point of, where they can improve.
Look, the death bowling has been somewhat problematic, but not too many are going to read into it when this team has got the best net run rate. And after today's win, they'll, and I'm saying win again. I'm going to fit in this prediction into every question you ask me. They're going to be right up there with.
So that it manifests. Are you trying?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, we've had you very gleefully start and end shows by pulling our leg when we get our predictions wrong. So I'm going to counter that by throwing in a prediction.
I'm just
when to my
facts.
mind, it's very obvious. I just said aapka show hai. But look, just getting back to serious matters, Kutsia has been outstanding. He's got wickets. But in what I've seen of him, both in that Australia series before this World Cup as well as here, he does give you that one loose over. And by loose over, I've seen him go for 18, 19, 20, 24 and 1 over across the 4 or 5 matches I've seen. Now, he's not playing this match. It's a calculated risk for the reasons I've already underlined. So they now need to get 10 more overs out of a spinner. Rabada's gotten wickets, but most of Rabada's wickets, if I'm not mistaken, have come when the damage has already been done. He's not been charging in and getting wickets up front. Look at the last match. I mean, Jansen was on a hat trick. And then by the time Rabada came on, I think the damage was already done. That said, they have the bowlers to do the job. There's a reason why this team is also 4 for 1. The bowlers have had a say. I don't think they'd be too worried because we've discussed how abject this Pakistan batting team is. Even if Pakistan win the toss and Babar Azam chooses to bat, do they have it in them to put up a winning total? And what is a winning total on this Chennai pitch? If this were track number one, I believe, where that India-Australia match was, you could have said, hey, 250 could be a winning target,
Yeah.
a winning score for some teams. Even if
Yeah.
Pakistan do get to 300, is that going to be enough? I actually like we've come to a stage where I can look at three teams and say inse na ho paega. And I understand divine intervention, all that halalala around previous Pakistan teams. It's not over until it's over. I still think it is definitely over for this Pakistan team. Even if they do manage to string together 3 or 4 wins, it's not going to be enough. And I think South Africa will take more confidence out of today's match than possibly any match, Meha, in this tournament. Even before Netherlands, they would have known, yeah, look, this is the team that beat us. They knocked us out of last year's T20 World Cup. But 5 matches in, seeing their own performance, assessing their strengths and weaknesses, even factoring in for Temba Bavuma coming back and not giving you the potential of what Riza Hendricks does, just how poor this Pakistan team has been playing in Chennai. I think South Africa, and they're not one to really, beat the drums and blare the trumpet about their skills. They'll probably say, we've got this match.
You know what this has done is that this has made Temba Bavuma's vocabulary richer, because right before this this match, on the eve of this match, he was asked a question about Pakistan. He says, I saw a comment that described Pakistan as mercurial. I had to Google the word, but it spoke about how a team can be good one day and not so good the next. So we want to make sure that when they are good, we are so good as well. So we'll come back to Pakistan and South Africa. But let's take a look at the result from last night. The question on many cricket fans' minds, whereas England's World Cup defence gone wrong. After losing to Sri Lanka yesterday, the defending champions' campaign is on the brink. 5 matches, 4 defeats, and even winning their remaining 4 games by some miraculous manner may not be enough to put Jos Buttler's team into the Final Four. They're all but mathematically out of this tournament after yesterday's result, which saw a scoreline of 44 for no loss in 6 overs, nosedive into a total of 156 all out in 33.2 overs, which Sri Lanka chased to win by 8 wickets in Bangalore. The top score of 43 came from Ben Stokes in an otherwise abject innings where 6 batters failed to make it to double figures. But Lahiru Kumara, he claimed 3 wickets, and the returning Angelo Matthews and Kasun Rajitha, they took 2 each as England fell to their lowest total of the World Cup. 2 early wickets to David Willey briefly raised hopes, but those were squashed emphatically by Pathum Nissanka and Sadira Samaravikrama, who hit 50s in a stand of 137 to finish the win in the 26th over. There is embarrassing, and then there is England. To think that this match was completed in 26th over against a Sri Lankan side with that kind of bowling, to be restricted to 156, Chetan, can they bounce back? I mean, we know England and how easy it is to mentally disintegrate them, especially if they are in these parts of the world. But to think that this kind of performance in this World Cup, what seems to have gone wrong with them?
Yeah, that phrase right there, because, we don't know. The short answer is we don't know, because what do you put a finger on in terms of their bowling? They're not good enough. You have Chris Woakes, Mark Wood. Mark Wood has experience of playing in the IPL, and yet he's not being able to hit those lengths. I can understand Chris Woakes not hitting those lengths. But Mark Wood, I just don't understand. He's been playing in Lucknow for the last couple of years. Jofra Archer has been playing here. He's not playing. He's part of the squad. He can tell them, look, guys, this is not how you bowl in India. Same with Sam Curran. Same with Ben Stokes. Ben Stokes is not playing as a bowler in this tournament, but he can tell them. More importantly, Jos Buttler can tell them that, listen, guys, I've been smacking bowlers in this part of the world for breakfast and dinner, and this is not how you bowl. Instead, you need to bowl like this. So the experience is there. And it's the same for batting. A majority of their batsmen, probably with now even Joe Root played IPL this year. Oh my God. So a majority of their batsmen have played IPL cricket. It's not like they're alien conditions to them. That excuse, to a certain extent, applies to Pakistan. It does not apply even to England. So I don't think you need to mentally disintegrate them at this point. I think they're not even mentally here, to be honest.
No,
This
I
is a
feel like,
team
you know,
for
why I
which,
said it, sorry, no, why I said it was that I feel it's more difficult for them here as a team in a tournament like this. I mean, what else explains this? I know they've been playing here, but as a team, when was the last time they did really well in India?
true, that's a good question. But the thing is, if you look at the bilateral records, no other team apart from Australia has been doing well here. Even if you look at New Zealand, if you look at South Africa.
True.
But those two teams seem to have turned a corner in this World Cup. They've a lot of elements for them have come together and they are tiding over the conditions. I mean, obviously, we are at the business end of
But
the
they're not
tournament.
perennial whiners, are they?
Now we can keep adding, England is this, England is that, England is this. For me,
I'm just trying to figure out
basic,
what went wrong. Yes, go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm butting in.
I think everybody in the English dressing room is trying to figure out what has gone wrong. But for me, like I said, it's a multiple. It's not just one factor. It's a multitude of factors that have gone wrong for England. Their batting is not clicking. Their bowling is not clicking. And I think Josh Butler's captaincy has been ordinary. I don't want to use the word pathetic because I really admire him as a batsman, but it's been really ordinary. And yesterday I asked you, a question that, would Evan Morgan have David Milan and Joe Root both in the top three of his batting lineup? No, he would not. And that just segregates both Josh Butler and Evan Morgan in terms of captaincy. England have gone back to 2015 or even worse than that, 2011, 2007. I mean, where they just turn up to make the numbers. They don't really make any impact in the World Cup, how it goes really. And this has been the case. And just to add on to what Jamie was saying, he did say that, 3 or 4 wins for Pakistan will not help. Actually, that will help because they're playing England and they're playing New Zealand.
Netherlands.
And the Netherlands and South Africa. 2 of those teams are in the top 4. 2 of those teams will probably not make the top 4. However, I do want to say a Pakistan win today knocks out England. Why? And there's a reason for that. Because if Pakistan win today, they can still get to 12 points. And there are other teams also that can finish on 12 points. Sri Lanka can finish on 12 points. Australia can finish on 12 points. New Zealand could finish on 12 points. Why I say New Zealand is because they are going to play both Australia. They're going to play Australia, Pakistan, and South Africa.
South Africa, yeah.
So they could finish with 10 or 12 points. So 10 and England at this moment can only finish on 10 points if they win all their remaining games.
True.
So a Pakistan win today technically, mathematically knocks out England from the World Cup.
Okay, Josh Butler. He takes the blame for poor show. He says there's no clear answer at the moment. Even they don't know. Nobody seems to know what has happened to England's campaign. There is no clear answer at the moment, he says. If there was one golden nugget that we were obviously not doing, we try and pick that up. But I can't fault the guys' efforts. We are just playing a long way short of our best. And it starts from the front. As captain, you want to lead from the front and play well. And the guys stuck in behind you, and I've been a long way short of my best, and that's now filtered through the rest. To think that Josh Butler himself is struggling in this way, Jamie, I think that hasn't helped this team either, right? I mean, Ben Stokes, we know, for half the tournament, he's been sitting out. He's been running in as a spiritual leader. That doesn't seem to have worked for them. Clearly, they've checked out. I don't see them, really coming back. There are no miracles there.
Apt that you just used the term checked out. There's an English journalist, Lawrence Booth, who's been to India countless times, and he posts these World Cup diaries on Facebook. And after the match, which they lost to South Africa, Chetan was there. And Lawrence writes at the end of one of his posts, I can't remember the exact terminology, he was waiting in the lobby. And he bumped into one of the England players on their way to being checked out of the Taj. And he asked the player, he didn't name the player. He said, "What went wrong yesterday?" And he said, "We were shit." He said, "Why?" He's like, "I don't know, but we've always relied on all rounders. We've just been chopping and changing. Whoever that unnamed player is, it could be Josh Butler, it could be anyone, but it just says, Neha, they have actually mentally checked out. If you want an answer regarding Josh Butler, he has just not looked like the kind of captain that is required. Yes, he won the T20 World Cup last year, but again, that's, you can say, different conditions. England are obviously going to be favorites in those kind of conditions. When you just don't have the bowling, when you're chopping and changing, like the unnamed England member of this World Cup squad said, it's not going to help. And I think, yes, Josh Butler keeps wickets for 50 overs. The team wants someone more robust in the middle order. But are they so rigid that they cannot think of putting Josh Butler back to where he's done things which make him their best T20 opener, which makes him a go-to for every franchise at IPL auctions? Are you so rigid in your thinking? You've had 8 years of barnstorming, momentum shifting white ball cricket. Why not send Josh Butler up? Why not try him at number 3? I get when KL Rahul bats at number 5 because he's got to keep 50 overs. And some players, they feel the pressure of having to bat higher when they're keeping wickets. MS Dhoni could never open and bat at number 3, 4 because he had a massive role. But with this team backs against the wall, needing to win every single match to remain in contention, why not send him up and down? And Chetan raised the valid point, just like we've been talking about Smith and Labuschagne. By the way, I don't know if you saw Smith's comments. Smith used the word shocked. He said, "I was shocked despite my outstanding record at number 3 when the team management approached me yesterday and said, you're going to have to bat at number 4. Why isn't England thinking along these lines, right? You need to reshuffle. If Ben Stokes is not bowling, if he's not having the spiritual leader effect, take some tough calls. Have Josh Butler open. Have Josh Butler bat 3.
True.
The teams that are going to fall at the bottom of this World Cup, Meha, to my mind, are the ones which have not understand how the one-day game is supposed to be played. You cannot be conservative. And despite all this 8 years of barnstorming, England are playing too conservative cricket for a batting lineup with that power in it.
Yeah, but it's all of it. I mean, I don't think it can just be Josh Butler coming, batting really low down the order.
You've got to
It's
try
also their
something.
bowling.
You've got to try something.
Yeah, it's also their bowling, which has been absolutely toothless. They've lacked bite. Collectively, this team has failed. And I think after they lost, 2-3 matches, they've sort of given up. Because what yesterday showed was they're completely out of it. If a team like Sri Lanka can just annihilate you, then you're in trouble. You're just not here, mentally not here in this tournament. But let's talk about the team that is mentally here, very much here, and they've been cruising. The Indian team, they had an optional training session in Lucknow yesterday, donning orange training jerseys. The players hit the ground running before their game against England. Yes, the same team goes there on the 29th of October at the Ekana Stadium. Almost the full squad was there with the exception of Mohammad Shami and Ishan Kishan. Now, given that the Indian team were given a 2-day break after the match in Dharamshala, most of the players chose to come for this optional training session. And after some catching drills, players went to the B ground for batting and bowling in the nets. They had a long session in the nets with Bumrah to Kuldeep, all batting in the nets. Then, interestingly, Virat Kohli, Surya Kumar Yadav and Shubman Gill, all 3 bowled a bit as well, making sure that they are ready in case the team needs their services. Surya bowled to Rohit and Shreyas. Virat Kohli also tried his hand at bowling. Gill bowled to Mohammad Siraj for close to half an hour. So there you have it. Indian team, planning for contingency because anything can happen in the absence of Hardik Pandya. Chetan, let's talk about this team and what they look to do against England. India, have been unstoppable so far. They're going to come up against an English side that, like we've been saying, have already checked out. Do you see players being benched? Do you see that rotation thing coming in? Or do you think that in this league stage now, India are not going to do that, even if they feel like they'll be through?
No, I don't think so. There's need for rotation at the moment because who are you going to rotate and who are you going to bring in? Because you look at the top five Indian batsmen, what are the options we have? We have Surya Kumar Yadav and we have Ishan Kishan. Surya Kumar Yadav is as it is going to play because Hardik Pandya is still not available. And you need to give Surya Kumar Yadav that batting time because it seems now that Hardik is not going to return anytime soon. So from that aspect, you will not want to rotate your top five, and then you have Surya Kumar Yadav at number 6. And in terms of bowlers, again, who are you going to rotate? Are you going to leave out Jasprit Bumrah? I don't think so. This is the game to do that. I think there are a couple of games coming up ahead. Sri Lanka, Netherlands. I think Netherlands is the game they're going to make a few changes, but even Sri Lanka, I don't see a lot of changes. Against South Africa, I think a full strength team has to play, make a statement, just like against New Zealand. So in this game, I expect Ashwin to come in and play. I expect the team to go in with 3 spinners instead of 3 pacers. My only question is, who are the 2 pacers going to be who play? Is it going to be Bumrah and Siraj, or is it going to be Bumrah and Stummy? So that's the only question I think that needs to be answered. I do think Ashwin will come in. I don't think, just because England is going through that really bad patch of form, I don't think India will say, okay, you know what? We're not playing England. We are playing a team which is really playing badly. I don't think this team management thinks like that. I don't think Rohit Sharma thinks like that, or anybody for that matter. I don't think anybody will think like that and make wholesale changes. So I only expect Ashwin to come in instead of one fast bowler. It just depends who the fast bowler going out will be.
Okay, we're just a few minutes away from the toss in the match between Pakistan and South Africa. I'll get you the details there, Jamie. But quickly, do you agree as well on this pitch in Lucknow? Should Ravichandran Ashwin come in?
Yeah, if there's going to be even a hint of a suggestion that he's going to get something, you have to play him because look, England are down and out. You could really play any bowling lineup right now against this team. You could even bring back Shardul Thakur, and he'll probably walk away with a 5-wicket haul because if Angelo Matthews jogging in with that physique and breaking opening stands, I think Shardul would have a field day. But I think the more interesting thing is, like Chetan said, is it time now to move beyond Mohammad Siraj for some time, given that at least 2 more matches without Hardik Pandya? We've discussed how brilliant this bowling attack has been, even without Mohammad Shami. It did give India 4 achievable targets. Mohammad Shami came in and that became a 5th one. But after that Mohali 5-wicket haul, many people said, how's this guy going to be kept out? The team kept him out for 4 matches. It was the 2015 World Cup. I got it wrong. I said 19 by mistake last time. It was the 15 World Cup where he sat out, 3-4 matches. And once he came back, he had a very good World Cup. To my mind, nothing against Mohammad Siraj. We discussed, Meha, that India will not play the same pace bowlers throughout these 9 league matches. They will rest and rotate. And I think 4 matches, even if Siraj had been doing slightly better, I think when Mohammad Siraj rocks up and does that, it is time to give, not to drop him, just to rest him for a couple matches. No doubt Siraj will come back at some stage. But right now with the Hardik Pandya conundrum, I would say the gamble of playing 5 bowlers has to continue and bring in Ashwin for this match and then go back to probably another pace bowler at Eden Gardens. I know Chetan thinks it'll be the slowest wicket. It might still be, but against that South African team, I would rather have 3 fast bowlers instead of 3 spinners, because if Klaasen and co get going, I don't know how crucial Ashwin's 10 overs would be. But definitely Lucknow, 29th, Ashwin in and Siraj out.
Okay. Now, Babar Azam's finally listened to you, Jamie, because Pakistan have won the toss and they've opted to bat. This is what Babar Azam said.
I also said that.
You also said, okay, fine, Chetan. All right. Babar Azam said, we will bat first. Every match is important now, and we are focusing on that. This is Babar Azam at the toss. So the news from Chennai is that Pakistan, they won the toss and they have opted to bat first. Babar at the toss also said that they need to improve in all departments, especially in their fielding. We know what happened against Afghanistan. The misfields cost them. He also said we need to stick together and discuss how to get better. Now, this is an operative phrase there. We need to stick together because of what we've been hearing about this Pakistan team. The rift, the fights, 2 groups, there are camps being formed. So he says at the toss that we need to stick together and discuss how we can get better. I'm happy to do well myself now. 2 changes. Hassan Ali is sick, so Wasim Jr. comes in. That is the one change. He said that. I'll get the playing 11s for both the teams very quickly, but Pakistan have won the toss and they've opted to bat first. Hassan Ali, that's one change we know of. He is not playing today. Wasim Jr. has come in place of him because Hassan Ali is sick. Babar Azam said that they would have liked to bat first. They need to win everything from here on. They need to stick together, united as a team, and he will like to do well himself. Temba Bavuma at the tossers. We played some good cricket, inspirational performances. We built some momentum with our bowlers and batters clicking. This is not like a T20 World Cup where you play just 4 or 5 group games. We need to keep doing well. I would have surely batted here. Looks like a good wicket. 3 changes. So, as Jamie had already said, Tabriz Shamshi, he's in, Kagiso Rabada is in, and Temba Bavuma has come back in. Those are the changes that that South Africa have made. Now, this really is the best chance then that Pakistan have given themselves. Good for Babar Azam to win the toss, batting first, Chetan, and this is now the best chance they have to beat the South African side.
Definitely. And it's interesting, Temba Bavuma playing today. For me, it's a battle of the captains, really. You have, on the one hand, Babar Azam. Like I said earlier, he needs to step up today. He needs to say, okay, you know what, I'm a bigger player than the criticism that you have thrown at me. And I think at the other end, we have Temba Bavuma, who really needs to prove that he actually belongs. I mean, yes, he had that fine run before the World Cup, but can anybody seriously tell me that he is being selected and he's captain of the side just on his form and no other reason? I think we all know why is there. And even after the win against England in Mumbai, a couple South African journalists asked this question. We had Reza Hendricks and we had Heinrich Klaassen who had come in, and they were talking about how some of the players had been trying to make their voice heard, that their selection was just being taken for granted. There was just too much chop and change just because of the selection policy that Cricket South Africa have in place. So I think it's a big game for Temba Bavuma because without him, as you said, nobody missed him. I tweeted about that as well. Nobody really missed him. So he needs to prove a point that he has something to offer to this marauding South African batting lineup. So far, the only thing that I liked about Temba Bavuma is that he wears a floppy hat and not the regular cap. As for Babar Azam, he has to lead the way with the bat. Pakistan has to put up a decent score, put some sort of pressure on South Africa. They have to play as a unit. Otherwise, we're just looking at 4 comedy shows, free comedy shows in this World Cup coming up, where the team in green is involved.
The other change for Pakistan, so Hassan Ali, he's sitting out and Mohammad Wasim Jr. is in. Usama Mir, he's not playing today's game, Jamie, and they've brought back Mohammad Nawaz in. So they've gone for the experience of Mohammad Nawaz. Will that change anything for them? Because that has been the other problem. Both Shadab Khan and Mohammad Nawaz and Usama Mir have been toothless.
The moment the Babar Azam's quote came up, I just had to try and stifle a chuckle. This team is in such doldrums that every match they're making one change, right? But the excuse is so-and-so is not ill. Just say we've dropped the bugger because he's not doing anything, right? Why do they have to bring this ill? The illness was last week when, or 10 days ago when players got ill. It just underlines. I mean, Chetan just used the word comedy. This Pakistan team is a laughing stock to my mind. Every time, the last 3 matches, they've dropped one player. He's ill. Just say it, and then you wonder where these riff stories comes from. Like I said, there's no smoke without fire. Does it make a difference, Meher, to get serious and answer your question? Usama Mir has been one of the worst spinners I've seen, not just from Pakistan. In a World Cup, the guy dropped David Warner on 10, and that cost 153 runs. Has he turned the ball? No. Has he looked threatening? No. Does he look like a spinner? Chetan already briefly addressed the matter. I mean, right now, they can bring in whoever they want to. I don't see it making a difference. Mohammad Nawaz is such a poor bowler. I don't like to bring people down, but he just doesn't have what's required, And just going back to that clip doing the rounds, which you, in fact, shared, Meher, 2 days ago, when that Pakistani expert says on a YouTube show, it's because these players play predominantly just T20 cricket. They don't play Quaid-e-Azam Trophy. They don't play enough first-class cricket. Suddenly, bowling 6 overs instead of 4 seems like a chore for these guys. And I think that is, yes, Chetan's right. We cannot exactly identify what's gone wrong with Pakistan, what's gone wrong with the England team. But when it comes to the Pakistan, and again, I think we're all in agreement here. We've not seen a poorer spin attack for any Pakistan squad in probably 30 years that we've probably all been watching. I think that Pakistani expert is right. It's because they just play T20s. And when you're bowling 4 overs, Meha, across 2 spells, how tough really is that to bowl 4 overs across 2 spells? It's child's play. Suddenly, these players have to bowl 10 overs, and it just shows why they're clueless. And it doesn't matter to me whether it's Osama Mir or Mohammad Nawaz. I'm going to stick with my prediction that the 20 overs that are going to come from 2 Pakistan spinners might end up going for 150 runs. Definitely, they would have gone for that much had South Africa been batting first. I don't know what they'll be chasing, but I think the weak link to my mind still remains Pakistan spinner. So play who you want to play.
All right.
They're going to get tonked by this South African team.
So the changes in South African side, let's put the South African 11 as well for everybody to see. 3 changes in that side. Ngidi is coming. So Rabada is out, Ngidi is in, Tabriz Shamshi, we've already said he's in, and Temba Bavuma has come back. So Lizard Williams, Reza Hendricks and Kagiso Rabada are sitting out. Chetan, Rabada being out?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you read out what he said at the toss that Rabada has been left out. I was a bit surprised at that because, Rabada did play the last game, and with Jiral Kudzia, he gets good bounce and everything, and he's been bowling pretty decently well. Like Jamie said, he's not been picking up too many wickets because as a whole, the South African bowling attack has been gelling very well. But I just find it weird that they brought in Lungi Ngidi. And I'm just wondering if there's something wrong with him, if he's been taken ill, or
maybe they just want to rest him, possibly for the other matches.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not doubting the fact that they've brought in the second spinner, Tabriz Shamsi, given the Chennai pitch, but I'm just not sure. And they don't want to drop Jiral Kudzia.
I would just think it's like them wanting to give him a break.
No, so they just said Rabada has been ruled out for today's match as a precautionary measure due to a lower back spasm. This is apparently come from CSA.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. Come on. We need some time for predictions, guys. Chalo.
Again, really?
Ready?
The whole show.
Chetan, go for it.
Chetan, come on. No, now we get into the specifics.
Okay. Obviously, Pakistan batting first, so I think they need T20 to put any pressure on South Africa on a pitch like this. I was at the game in Chennai against Australia. Throughout the Australian innings, we were discussing that this is a 250 pitch, 260 pitch. That would have been tough in March.
Just predictions, Chetan. Just predictions.
Okay, 320. Pakistan need 320 to put pressure on South Africa. Again, below 300, Pakistan doesn't win.
Okay. Jamie?
Again, I'm going to say the exact same thing, but I'm just going to say they're not going to get to 300. No Rabada. I'm calling it 3 to 4 wickets for Shamsi. They're kept to under 300, and South Africa won't collapse this time, and they're going to win it by...
No, we're going to be there for the 6 o'clock show.
wickets.
You just had to predict the first innings.
Yeah. No, I told you.
And there are too many.
I'm going to go the whole hog and give it.
There are too many ifs and buts in your predictions, guys.
Okay.
That's it. Wrapping it up.
280.
And 320. Okay.
No, I said they need 320.
No, don't do all this 300. Just give what you think they will score, Baba.
265.
Okay, that's it. Out of time. Thank you so much. When I'll take it with you guys. But as always... his batting contribution. Following CSK's 5th IPL title win, Dhoni underwent the knee surgery and he's now disclosed that he is experiencing no complications complications with his knee and is progressing well towards
BrahMos, stealthy, lethal, precise. It flies at 3 times the speed of sound and cuts through a warship like a hot knife through butter. China's navy has threatened its neighbors, and they are turning to the BrahMos for protection. The warship killer. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Hello everyone, Namaskar. I'm music composer Ricky Cage. 3-time Grammy Award winner and a United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. And you're watching me on First Person on News9 Plus.
This and more streaming now on the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.